Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Before you check out the rest of the video, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the Sports PSP podcast, and please check out live episodes of the Sports PSP podcast with my two Georgia brothers, BRF Sports and Undisputed World Champ, every Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. But man, I gotta talk about the New York Giants, especially Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart, the rookie quarterback who the New York Giants drafted in the first round, his first start. This was a few days after the New York Giants decided to bench Russell Wilson in favor for Jaxson Dart. I thought overall Jaxson Dart looked solid against the Los Angeles Chargers. He wasn't spectacular. He was about 13 and 20 for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, one on the air, one on the ground. What it was very impressive with Jaxson Dart is his ability to move, extend the plays. He's got to do a better job of getting rid of the ball faster. He was sacked 5 times, but after all, when you're behind that offensive line with the New York Giants, you're asking a lot of trouble. If Russell Wilson's going to have a hard time being behind that offensive line, so will Jaxson Dart. No matter how mobile, no matter how young he is. Matter of fact, historically, mobile quarterbacks have run themselves to a lot of sacks. Unfortunately for the New York Giants, during the game against the Los Angeles Chargers, Malik Neighbors, it's been reported that he may have torn his ACL. No reports out yet whether if it's official, but it's believed that he has torn his ACL. Devastating for the New York Giants because they just started Jaxson Dart. And unfortunately for Giants fans and fantasy football fans, we won't see the potential duo of Jaxson Dart and Malik Neighbors. So very devastating for Giants fans. Like I said on last Friday's pod, the reason why I believe that the New York Giants decided to go with Jaxson Dart because they've had enough. They just want to see what Jaxson Dart is capable of. They had enough of Russell Wilson. Let's just see what the young guy is capable of and go from there. The only way I can see Brian Daboll keeping his job, despite the fact that the New York Giants may not have a great record, they probably may end up 4-13, 5-12, or whatever. The only way I can see Brian Daboll keep his job is that Jaxson Dart has to play well enough for the New York Giants to believe, Brian Daboll actually has a quarterback that he can work with. The reason why Brian Daboll was the head coach for the New York Giants, remember, he was in Buffalo, and we know the job that he did with Josh Allen. And look, his first year when he was the Giants head coach, he helped the New York Giants make the playoffs. The New York Giants did win a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings and did help Daniel Jones get that 4-year, $160 million contract. Whether Daniel Jones earned it or not, he got his money. The only way that Brian Daboll can keep his job, and of course, during the 2022 season, he did win Coach of the Year. So you have to add on to that. The only way Brian Daboll is going to have to keep his job is that he's going to have to convince Giants fans, management, and ownership, look, you brought me here because the job I did with Josh Allen, so imagine what I do with Jaxson Dart. You saw what I did with Daniel Jones' first year. I mean, look, we went to the playoffs. We won a playoff game, and I helped him get $40 million. So with this young quarterback, if you give me some time, I believe he will maximize his potential. He meaning Jaxson Dart. If you give Brian Daboll some more time to coach this team, help out this team, hey, that's the only way that he can convince the Giants to keep his job. Because if you look at Brian Daboll since that time, 2023, 2024, not been so good. And 2025, I mean, before Malik Neighbors had the injury, he was frustrated. I mean, look at the game against Washington. And then in week 2, he was balling out against the Dallas Cowboys. And then in week 3 against Kansas City. And me and Champ, we discussed this on the pod. Is he losing the team? Because we've seen him get into fights not only with Malik Neighbors, but also with the offensive linemen. And one of the games in which they lost to the Dallas Cowboys, despite the fact that they scored 37 points, 14 penalties. Can Jaxson Dart, if Jaxson Dart plays well enough, can he play well enough to keep Brian Daboll's job? Only time will tell. Because if you look at the Giants' remaining schedule, they go on the road next week to New Orleans to face the Saints. Then short week, Amazon Prime, Thursday Night Football, home game against the Eagles. Then October 19th, they travel to Denver to face the Broncos. Then October 26th, they travel to Philly to face the Eagles. November the 2nd, home game against the 49ers. November 9th, they travel to Chicago to face the Bears. November 16th, they face the Packers at home. Then November 23rd, on the road against Detroit. Then Monday Night Football, December the 1st, they face the New England Patriots at Foxborough. They get a bye week. And then December the 14th, they face the Washington Commanders at home. Then they face then December the 21st, they face the Minnesota Vikings. And then their last two games on the road to Las Vegas and a home game against the Dallas Cowboys. So if Jaxson Dart plays well enough without Malik Neighbors, if he can do it with Darius Slayton, Cam Scatterboo, Slaughter, and with Tracy, the other running back, can Jaxson Dart do whatever it takes to help Brian Daboll keep his job? Who knows? I think the best thing for Brian Daboll to utilize Jaxson Dart, don't put too much on the young man to play. Don't ask him to throw the football 35, 40 times. You do have Tracy and Cam Scatterboo to run the football. And when necessary, let him take some chances. Let him use his legs. Despite the fact that he was sacked 5 times, again, New York doesn't have that great of an offensive line. Use his legs. Make him use his legs just like you saw against the Chargers. If you want Jaxson Dart to succeed, use his legs. Create some run pass options, the read options. And the great thing about it is there's no tape on Jaxson Dart. There's not enough film on him. So defensive coordinators, defensive teams, they don't know how to scheme against New York Giants with Jaxson Dart at quarterback. That's the beauty of it if you're New York. Who knows? But I was shocked that the New York Giants beat the Los Angeles Chargers. And also, if you look at the New York Giants on paper, in terms of their roster, they're loaded with talent. In honesty, they really should be 2-2. They should have won that game against Dallas in week 2 had it not been for the 14 penalties, the defense, and Russ with the interception. They really should be 2-2. So, look, the only way, like I said, I'll say it again, the only way that Brian Daboll can keep his job is that Jaxson Dart is going to have to play well enough for Brian Daboll to convince the New York Giants, hey, you brought me here to help out a quarterback. You saw, you saw what I did with Daniel Jones' first year. He was able to get $40 million. Unfortunately, he's able to go elsewhere to Indianapolis, and he's been playing more than what people really thought, because Daniel Jones has been playing more than well in Indianapolis. He's done a damn good job making people in Indianapolis forget more and more about Anthony Richardson. But if Jaxson Dart plays well enough, I think it may give a reason for Brian Daboll to keep his job. Because again, Brian Daboll was there to help out the quarterback. So if you give Brian Daboll a young quarterback to help lead, but Brian Daboll also has to have control of the team. And he can't have fights with some of the players. Otherwise, it's a bad look. But I think in order to help out Jaxson Dart, don't ask too much on his play. Don't ask him to throw the football 35, 40 times. Use his legs when needed on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, on 3rd and 5 plays. Use Cam Scatterboo. Shout out to the big fella, undisputed world champ. He said it best. Cam Scatterboo is the combination of Christian McCaffrey and Mike Allstott. So if you utilize Cam Scatterboo with the running and the passing game and with Tracy as well, besides, you're going to have to increase their workload now that their number one wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, may be gone for the rest of the season. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts on Jaxson Dart? Can Jaxson Dart do enough in order for Brian Daboll to keep his job? And can the New York Giants, believe it or not, actually shock some people with a rookie quarterback in Jaxson Dart? And also, what's next for Russell Wilson? It's your boy Sports PSP. Enjoy the rest of your day and peace.